What it do, homies? It's your boy Dave, and I'm back today. We are about to check this video. The title kind of caught my interest: why white rappers can't coexist in hip hop. But before we even do that, bro, look at this thumbnail. Okay, first off, I didn't even know Drake was mixed. I was sitting here wondering, who he. Then we got Central C, Eminem. I'm not sure I know who this guy is. And then, of course, Logic. He's always talking about how he's half black and half white. And of course, we got MGK here. I'm very interested in how this is going to go. So let's go ahead and shut up and turn it up.
If you're white in hip hop, you have to contribute to black culture in some sort of fashion. You can't come into this from the vessel of hip hop and use the clothes and the language and the music and then go off and start doing something.
Are you talking about Post Malone?
You know what? This is the thing.
Wait. He said you can't start using the cultural, can't even say the words, clothes and the language and the music and then go off and start doing something white.
Go off and start doing something.
Are you talking about Post Malone?
You know what? This is the thing. I remember when I first started, there was this whole white rappers can't like white rappers. It's like this rule.
Oh yeah, I promoted that for 20.
Wait, hold on. I'm sitting here like I'm still stuck on the whole go off and do something white, as opposed to what? Something black. I mean, I get it. I understand what he's saying. It's just, for some reason, that was just a weird take in my head. Almost comical.
20 years.
He's like, no. And it was true. It was kind of like when it is how it was. But that's just got to go.
From the moment they entered the music industry, white rappers have always had to deal with animosity from the culture. Suddenly, the minority for the first time in their lives, Caucasian MCs have always been held to unrealistic standards by some who'll never accept them, while in other cases, their own attempts to make amends for succeeding in the game has always prevented them from being taken seriously long enough to establish themselves, make a significant impact, and leave behind a lasting legacy. From the days where Eminem was challenging everyone from Cage to Fred Durst and ICP, through to the modern day when Shady has taken issue with the likes of NF and Token, white rappers have always had a tendency to beef with each other. Recently, we've seen the cannibalistic tradition re-enter the news cycle, with MGK firing some strays at Jack Harlow. Seemingly stemming from Jack's bars on They Don't Love It, MGK's response came in the form of a freestyle, spitting, "See why they call you Jackman, you Jackman's whole swag." The twin forces of the media and the internet were, as always, quick to hype the beef, and before long, the issue was addressed during Jack's appearance on Rap Radar.
But you did say you're the hardest white boy since Eminem, and then
that's right.
Certain people got in their feelings. Are you gonna clap back at him lyrically?
How do you take it in? I guess you just take it. I don't know. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, and I feel great about what I said, and I feel great about the reaction.
See, I think one of the things that people fail to realize in hip hop is that it's an art form, right? It's forever competition. People, always trying to one up each other, and it's part of the soul was this hip hop, right? Where you just talk your stuff. You know what I mean? If that's the way that you feel, then go ahead and say it, right? It's just part of the culture. And of course, some people are going to disagree. And it's very possible that Jack Harlow decided to say that just to get, a reaction, which 100% he did and everything. But I do think that he should have followed up, right? And you can't just say something like that in hip hop and then expect it to kind of just go in and just fade into the distance. You know what I mean? People going to keep bringing it up and it's going to stay on you like a dirty stain that you never washed off. You know what I'm saying? Did he respond? I don't think he responded to MGK because MGK called him out, those freestyle and everything.
Jack held this situation with his characteristic nonchalance. There's plenty of examples where that sort of questioning from a media figure would have been enough for a full feud, and if he did, then Jack would have fallen into a similar trap in which white rappers square off against one another. As up until this point, it seems like they're simply incapable of coexisting, or at the very least, haven't been granted permission to accept each other's presence in the game. And while we could go through and exhaustively list every single beef that's ever taken place between white artists and hip-hop, we're more interested in establishing why they happen so frequently and where the common threads lie. For starters, we have self-preservation and competitiveness. No other form of entertainment is so geared towards confrontationally asserting yourself quite like hip-hop. And given that white rappers are already burdened with the notion that they're guests within the genre, it's only natural that this idea of taking on anyone who might be hovering near your market share would be addressed. As a result, verbal jabs such as those that MGK sent to Jack Harlow's direction have been a regular thing in white-on-white rap. And the more of them you add to the mix, the more volatile things get. Here, we have a track such as Dilated People's Ears Drum Pop remix, which simultaneously sparked two beefs. The story goes that it was a throwaway bar that was misinterpreted that led to his longtime feud with Eminem, with Everlast spitting, "Cock my hammer, spit a comet like Haley, I'll buck a 380 on ones that act shady." This was enough for Slim to assume that he was being sent for.
Yeah, because ain't no way. Throwaway bar, ain't no way, bro. Comet like Haley, spit a $3 on that act shady, right? All right, so here it is. Cock my hammer, spit a comet like Haley, right? Is there? I mean, I'm sitting here trying to think if there's any other way to kind of take that bar. Is Haley? Is that a comet? Is there a comet out there named Haley, right? And then act shady, right? People who act shifty. You know what I mean? It's just no way that that's just a coincidence, especially since he called it a throwaway bar. I feel like. Here's how I feel like. I feel like if he went on, because he went on a defense to talk about this, like it sounds like he went on a defense when people started calling him out, which makes me believe that it possibly was a throwaway bar, right? Because he could have just said, yeah, I did that, right? Again, you know, the whole competitive nature of hip hop, but it can't be a coincidence. Yeah, if I was shady, I would have thought he was, hey, you know how M is, man. M turned into shady, you start talking about his daughter. Still to this day, and she a grown woman.
A 380 on ones that act shady. This was enough for Slim to assume that he was being sent for, and before long, he responded with venom on diss tracks like I Remember and Quitter. On I Remember, Eminem even goes as far as to admit that the two of them trying to exist within the same cramped space as white artists could have led to the friction, spitting, "Remember Sway and Tech when I came up and sat beside you? I started rhyming and you left the room and didn't say goodbye or nothing. Like you mad that someone else was white and tried to rhyme or something." But according to Everlast, the whole thing was actually a miscommunication. And here we can see how the intensified spotlight of white rappers meant that Shady had no other option but to respond.
I say something about Haley's comment at that. I didn't know his daughter's name was Haley, but he got very upset about that part. And then that got exposed that he knew so much about, or he was so upset that he thought I had said something about his daughter that I used that in the second diss. He was about to go to jail or something. And I said, I'll look in on your kid. I wouldn't have done that at this age as a parent.
Right.
Two daughters. I wouldn't.
On Quitter, Eminem chose to expand his targets, opting for a scattergun approach, which also meant that he took aim at Dilated Peoples for giving Everlast a platform in the first place. In doing so, it meant that he inherited a beef with another white rapper and producer in Evidence. During a visit to the People's Party with Talib Kweli, Evidence was happy to explain that even though he'd met M before and everything had been cordial, they suddenly had no choice but to go to war.
Getting dissed by Eminem in the prime of his career, it was not cool at all. The real Slim Shady was out. He was on over the top of the world.
Yeah, man. Okay, he said Eminem in the prime of his career, but here's the thing, man. Especially when it comes to Eminem, I feel like he's more like a aged wine. You know what I mean? Like he knows when. I mean, we've seen it before. Like when Nick Cannon did all those diss tracks with Eminem, and then Eminem simply just did not respond. You know what I mean? But I think that in Eminem in his prime, I think he would have responded to everybody that clapped at him. Now it seems like he just reserves his energy, or he'll trap them all right in a bubble and then release it on a feature or something like that, or like he did on Kamikaze on this album where he just takes shots at everybody. He takes his time, and then of course he decides that he doesn't want. If he decides that he doesn't want to end you, then I guess he just doesn't want to end you. But I ain't even got dissed by Eminem. I wouldn't want it to happen, okay? At the end of the day, the man is a lyricist. You know, at the end of the day, if you don't even respect Eminem, you got to respect his lyric game. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to get dissed by him.
World. There was a coffee shop I used to go to in the morning, and the girl looked at me one day and just started laughing in my face. Wow. And she was like, "What are you gonna do?" That's what she told me.
With Shady's power seemingly capable of destroying his career, Ev understood that taking M's provocations lying down wasn't an option. The resulting diss track, Searching for Bobby Fischer, saw him shade Eminem and divulge personal details that he'd gotten from someone he knew in Detroit.
So I went back and wrote a rap against him, and whether you like it, don't like it, or anything in between, I got respect. Then he hit me again with another diss, and it wasn't that good. He didn't have much on me. Eventually, Paul and I are cool. Right. I seen Eminem backstage at a festival one time with Alchemist. You know, there was a little like, we're cool. I get played on Shade 4-5. Right. Nothing really happened. I got to get respect for not backing down to somebody who was Godzilla, and then that was it.
Compelled to fight one another, even when the personal animosity was more imagined.
And it's crazy because somebody does diss you, right? it may seem like you, especially when you got somebody like Eminem, and it may seem like you fighting Goliath and everything. But yeah, like I said, it's that combative nature, right? That makes hip hop what it is. You know what I mean? Like I said, he got the respect from doing it. He didn't cower out and everything. Some people just don't really. I mean, we've seen Eminem destroy careers and everything, but from what I can tell, some people actually emerged even better than they was before, right? Like MGK, he made that dude turn into a whole nother genre. And now he's with Megan Fox, and I think, frankly, he's just killing it. Now, if it wasn't for that beef and everything, I don't know nothing about respect. It's just sometimes good stuff can come from battling heads and everything. So, with this white rappers can't coexist in hip hop, that's kind of hip hop almost kind of showing its true nature, or showing its nature right there, right? They're doing it for other reasons, but they still clash, and the competitiveness is still there.
And then that was it.
Compelled to fight one another, even when the personal animosity was more imaginary than anything else, this is the same exact mentality that had MGK and G-Eazy jostling for image rights almost 2 decades later. Two rappers that resided in the same area, between getting play from the mainstream pop charts while generally getting respect from hip-hop diehards. MGK and G-Eazy had moved in similar circles for years with little to no issues. But that would all change with an unsavory funk flex freestyle from MGK, in which he rallied against G-Eazy for everything from stealing his look to allegedly sleeping with his one-time girlfriend, Halsey. Before long, MGK's first sparring match with a white rapper would soon be eclipsed by getting coaxed into the ring with Eminem. Whoever you thought won, Rap Devil and Killshot represent just another case of white MCs misinterpreting one another's behavior as something more antagonistic than it is, and responding with venom. After all, in the very same tweet that allegedly sparked the incident, MGK called Eminem the king. Despite this, he was soon blacklisted from Shade 45, Eminem's radio station. And well, the rest is history. With their perpetual conflict, the media has thoroughly enjoyed every moment of it. During a guest appearance on Howard Stern's show, Howard pointed out the striking similarities in their upbringings and backgrounds, suggesting that it was ironic for them to be feuding in the first place.
Was Eminem a hero to you?
Yeah, for sure.
The guys
I guess that is kind of interesting, right? Because if we talk about like the Black community, especially when it comes to hip hop, those same upbringings are the things that draw us closer, right? People get on the track and they start rapping about all this type of relatable stuff, regardless of where you grew up at. That thing kind of brings us together, you know what I mean? But it seems that in white culture, because they're battling for that tight spot, they don't want that. It's almost like they're afraid of that conflict, they can't coexist right there, right? I need to be better than you, right? Kind of reminds me of J. Cole's verse when he says, you act like two legends can't coexist and everything.
Great rapper. Does it personally pain you that you have this feud with this guy?
I'm like asleep in my tour bus. This guy drops an album with like 3 songs talking about me. I said what I said and respect the fight. That's it. The guy down the street has money. This fool has wealth beyond. I'm all about putting my arm around people. I'm not with like doing this to people. So I can't relate. The last thing I want to ever be is an angry legend.
Wait. Ain't no way. I'm all about putting my arm around people. I'm sitting here thinking, okay, hold on. I mean, I'm all about putting my arm around people. I'm not like doing this. So I'm essentially saying I can't, push people away and everything. But we're talking about 2 different fan bases here, right? Right? I think MGK has a better chance at walking down the street and not somebody wishing harm to him than Eminem does. So yeah, I would say that you're all about putting your arm around. Like, I ain't saying MGK's fan base is slower. I'm just saying compared to Eminem's, I would think he would need more security than you would. I might be misinterpreting this wrong. Maybe.
So I can't relate. The last thing I want to ever be is an angry legend.
As much of an icon as Howard is in this field, he's clearly naive about hip-hop, as when it comes to white rappers, the shared experience of coming up in this game is actually the issue. Throughout history, white rappers who are on the come-up have a tendency to try to prove that they're in it for the right reasons, while saying that others are there to profit from the culture. Just like we often see, this too goes all the way back to Shady rallying against Vanilla Ice and Milkbone in 1999, as in a famous interview, he doubled down on dissing them, saying,
I didn't just want to be thrown out there, you know what I mean? Like a milk bone or like Vanilla Ice and just like try to start at the top or whatever. I want that foundation. I want the respect. I ain't in this for the money. I'm in it for the respect. I'm in it for like, just for somebody to come up and say, Eminem, you're dope.
A now familiar move.
Ooh, Eminem, you're dope. You know, that's got me thinking about his verse on Lucky You with Joyner Lucas. Didn't he say something similar? He said he got a couple of Grammys. He was just in there for the respect or whatnot. Okay. Yeah, honestly, I would say that what led Eminem, we got to kind of think about it, right? Eminem, for the most part, especially when he was shady, for the most part, was super controversial, right? Saying all kinds of stuff that, you know, most people wouldn't say, that would normally get you canceled, right? That wouldn't lead to money. So I like to think he's always been about hip hop, like he's always been about the lyrics and everything. I mean, I think he is actually quite humble, to tell you the truth sometimes, unless he's deciding to like attack somebody, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I do get that. And I get that from a couple of other white rappers as well, that they actually in there for, you know, for the culture, you know what I mean? And it also reminds me of what did Eminem say, or did Easy Mill say it? And in one of the Realists, where he says he was a guest in the house. No, I think Eminem said that he was a guest in the house, but he made it into a mansion. This guy right here, see what is HipHopMadness says something about, you know, you can't just go into the culture and come out. Not HipHopMadness, the other guy. I still can't get that out of my head. Come in and wear the clothes and then go be white. I mean, what are you supposed to do? I mean, they are white, so I'm sorry, I'm just rambling. I'm in it for like, just for somebody to come up and say, Eminem, you're dope.
A now familiar move in the white rapper's playbook. A man who's always struggled to get his respect in the game, Russ is one man who took issue with how Post came into the game, believing that he used rap aesthetics as a springboard to fame. But as a white rapper always will in these situations, he used the example of Malone to depict how he was different from the other white rappers.
And if you're white in hip hop, you have to contribute to black culture in some sort of fashion. Otherwise, you are simply repeating history by coming in to black culture, using that as a medium to steal and profit for self.
I had a question for you guys, right? How do y'all tell the difference, steal and profit from self? Like, how can you tell the difference between a white rapper that is there to bring up the culture as opposed to there to just leech it? Does it lie in the actions of what they do, like outside of their life? You know what I mean? And I guess the question can be flipped, right? Because even though hip hop, you know, is for the most part, you know, it's African American culture. You know what I mean? I might be ignorant saying that, but you know, black people, how about just say that, right? You could flip it. You can say that there are some black people that use it just for profit, right? But I guess we would look the other way because it's music that's created for us. But then they wouldn't be pushing it, right? They wouldn't be contributing to it. They're kind of just putting out the same old stuff and profiting off of it. There's a lot of people that really get upset with the way that today's music sounds like, because it all kind of sounds the same. What do y'all think of that? It's just probably, there's no contribution going to it. I feel like I'm getting old, definitely like what my parents were, where we're kind of, you know, oh, today's music is trash type of stuff. There's no substance in there. I find myself wanting more substance. That's why I can't react to certain artists. I'm not going to sit here in front like I like them jumping and yelling and screaming. If I don't really like them, I'm generally not going to do any more reactions to them. I'm just going to tell you that right up in front. But how do y'all tell the difference?
By coming in to black culture, using that as a medium to steal and profit for self. You can't come into this from the vessel of hip hop and use the clothes and the language and the music and then go off and start doing something.
Are you talking about Post Malone?
I think like that's a fair example. You come in with braids and golds to the point people are thinking you're mixed, and now you drink Bud Light and wear cowboy boots. You used it.
Okay, there it is. I mean, cowboy boots and Bud Light, I can see Bud Light, but cowboy boots, I wouldn't necessarily say that's restricted to white people, right? Because there's some country black people out there. So I don't know. I'm still kind of, I mean, I understand it, but still, this is kind of a weird thing to say to me.
to propel yourself to the forefront, and then you reverted back to who you really were. I feel like I do hip hop justice. I don't make a mockery of it. I don't portray any negative stereotypes.
I don't feed into
it.
Painted as a need to police themselves and condemn those who break hip-hop's codes, there is an honorable intention to be taken from this. But where this might be the most admirable reason to take issue with a fellow Caucasian in hip-hop, there is one other common cause of the beefs that can't be ignored, and that's the nature of the music industry. Where Yellow Wolf's Bloody Sunday freestyle took aim at Post Malone, G-Eazy, and MGK to generate buzz for his forthcoming album, others were incentivized in different ways. Here we have R.A. the Rugged, an underground legend that was once headhunted by a record label purely to diss Eminem and capitalize on his hype.
Man, when M blew up, I had every label on the planet calling me to do a diss record for us, do a diss record, diss Eminem. You're calling white boy to diss white boy. I think Suge got Milkbone to do a diss record to M. Like they would reach out to white boy rappers. Like Priority was like, look, you're the only white boy that can do it. You're better than M. You'll destroy M.
R.A. ultimately turned them down and chose to share this story to the world. But if he actually rejected their offer and was free to talk about it, it makes you wonder how many other feuds between white rappers may have been manufactured by a record label getting in their ear. Alongside the major labels understanding the potential revenue from white-on-white beef, others have witnessed the media try to drive a wedge between them by pitting otherwise cordial MCs against each other. Unfortunately, this isn't a half-baked theory and was actually epitomized during a conversation between Mac Miller.
I mean, honestly, that kind of comes out as a no-brainer, right? There's a whole lot of control that goes on in the music industry to cause some type of divide because beef and drama, it sells. You know what I mean? It's 100% sales, whether you're white or black. In this case, with white rappers, with it being such a touchy subject to some people, right? As far as if they're culture vultures or if they're there to actually upbring the culture, it makes sense, right? People are going to tune in to see two white rappers battle because in some people's eyes, both don't even belong. So both y'all squabbling like this? Yeah. Where's the popcorn at? Oh, yeah.
And Hot 97's Ebro.
You know, people always, what do you think about Macklemore? Because he's killing it now. I'm like, nah, he's
killing it. Yeah,
that's
good.
awesome. And he's a good dude, too. That's fine.
Two things I'd like to do. One, Macklemore. I don't know him, right? And I'm cool with Ack Iller right now. You're going against everything that he just said. We don't have to say Macklemore to like Mac Miller.
Right. It can just be cool.
Yeah, it's
fine. It can just be cool. There's no
because
issue.
I'm going to tell you right now, there's plenty of beef between black rappers. I need white rapper beef.
Oh, but since white rappers were traditionally the minority in hip-hop, they had the most beef.
It was like quiet, like
sincere.
No, I just don't want him to win because I am the white rapper.
There's only so many white rappers.
Can only be me.
I want to win. Whoops. Don't need that. Okay. Anyways, you guys let me know what y'all thought about this video. I know I went a little long-winded, but this is interesting to me. So that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like and subscribe. Dave's out.